You're watching Focus TV show. I'm your co-host Nadia Shivia, and in today's episode, we'll be looking at the Rundu Campus Cultural Festival 2019, and these are some of the views and comments that the organizers and participants had to say. Hi, I'm Beginner Deshvia in Rundu, and this is Focus TV show. We are currently finding ourselves at the Rundu campus, and we are focusing on UNAM Cultural Festival, which started on the 14th and ending on the 17th August 2019. Hi, I'm Beginner Deshvia once again. As you can see, I'm at the cultural event. DJ Ali is going to talk to the event organizers.
Hello viewers, my name is DJ Ali and I'm the host for TV Focus show, and we are here at Rundu UNAM campus engaging with the organizers of this year's event. It is the 2019th edition, and we are here to find out this year what edition is this year, and as well as how important is the cultural festival to our Rundu students. With that, I am joined by Mr. Manuel Katongo. He is the Deputy President of UNAM Rundu campus. A very good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon.
So first of all, take us through, what edition is this year's cultural festival?
This is the 9th edition since Rundu campus was then a college, but from 2011 it was converted to become a university campus. So 2019 marks the 9th edition of University of Namibia Cultural Festival hosted at Rundu campus.
So this event has been hosted for the years. How important is the cultural festival, to the students of Rundu UNAM campus as well as the community?
Culture is something that defines a person. So it is entrusted in the curriculum of university to be celebrated every year, simply to define us, to define the student, or to define the community, to define people in Namibia of who they are. It's just a session or a festival where they celebrate, reminding themselves of who they are.
And we are celebrating this year's event under what theme?
We are celebrating this year's event under the theme, Culture, Our Way of Life.
Okay, how would you describe that to our viewers?
I would describe that as culture is something that we do in our life. For example, we do it in a certain way that show us that we are Namibian people. We do dress in a way that show us that we are people in Namibia. We do dance, sing, and do anything in our life in a way that shows us that we are people in Namibia. So that's that's the definition of this thing.
So as the SRC president, how do you think people are engaging in this event?
They are engaging in happily to say, and there are a lot of students who are involved in this event. I just want to explain something. When we are talking about culture, we are not referring to dancing only like cultural dance that our forefathers have been dancing long, but then culture is something that evolves as years goes on. That's why there are different events involved: dancing, playing soccer, singing, different shows. All these are things that we do here and then, or the things that we do always in our lives. So we carry them along as the culture, something that we've been doing.
And as well, would like to find out, how would you encourage, other people that are actually taking, their culture as, lightly? How would you encourage them, to take it as much serious?
I would advise them. Culture put an identity on somebody. So when you don't take your culture serious, or when you don't put yourself into activity that defines you, then you are lost somebody. So everybody need an identity, and that identity is identified, or it's taken by you participating into cultural activities.
All right. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
So yes, there is nothing of this without the lady standing next to me. There is the SRC for Culture. Her name is Haingura Katrina. She is the main host, or rather the main organizer of this event. First of all, Ms. Ainguram, how would you describe culture in your own term?
I will define culture as a way of life, the way that people choose to live in their everyday life, following what was done before. Yeah, in short.
All right. So, what are some of the things that you encountered, during your or your arrangements for this year's cultural festival that is perhaps lacking within the communities that you wanted to bring on board in this year's cultural festival?
Yeah, I encountered a lot of difficulties, especially on the part of attires, the cultural attires. We have to rent out attires from outside, so students of different types can use it to perform, to showcase their cultures. And yeah, that's it.
Reflecting on the theme of this year's cultural festival, do you think it's going hand in hand with the way we are living life?
No, the theme of this year is not going hand in hand with the way that we are living in the modern days, because we have abandoned our culture and we are not following whatever that was done before. We are just following the modern things, and the theme is not going hand in hand, not in any way.
So perhaps people have taken this day as a day they come, they get entertained, and right after this day, they forget about it, or they forget about, culture or their culture. So, what motivation would you like to give to people that we should live, our culture in everyday life?
Most importantly, I would encourage students, because students are not interested in culture, they're just interested in entertainment part, the modern entertainment, not culture, to be specific. And I would encourage students to take part in the cultural performances that are usually happening in each year.
So do you think communities or community members are also involving themselves in this event?
No, community members are not involving themselves in the events, because if they are involving themselves in the event, they should have encouraged students to take part, because they also face the challenge of not getting students to partake in the cultural performances due to not getting encouragement from the community. So the community is not doing its part.
So who are some of the stakeholders perhaps that you can think of, engaging just to make sure that this event continues successfully every year or annually?
I think parents, parents and that just the community at large. Because in the community we get different types of stakeholders. You also get sponsors who can encourage the students to partake in the cultural performances. And that will be a good idea to involve in such sponsors.
As a cultural, organizer for this year's event, do you think community leaders, or let's say traditional authorities, are also contributing, in this event, or has there been an approach for them to contribute to this?
Yeah, of course, the traditional leaders are contributing in one way, especially when we had Hungi on the official opening. Yeah, we called in some community leaders to come and encourage students, tell them what used to happen back in the days, and encourage them on how to take culture.
Do you think culture should be, introduced in the curriculums?
Of course, I think culture should be introduced in the curriculum, because we are lacking the ideas of how culture is, how culture needs to be done. Because a lot of us, yes, I also do not know some things related to culture. So when culture is introduced in the curriculum, I also learn from that, and it will be a benefit to all the students, not only students but also the staff members of the UNAM management, and of course the community at large.
So what are your motivations to your fellow students and the communities at large?
I would encourage students to be more interested in culture, to take culture seriously, and to respect all the rules that have been followed by the elders. Yeah, that's all.
All right, thank you. So it is the cultural festival taking place at Rundu UNAM campus 2019, and it's not only about culture, trying to showcase which tribe you belong to, but this is an engagement where young people, they come together and try to fit in from all society. So with that, I am joined by Mr. Hakusembe Leander. He is the Vice Chairperson of Recreation at Rundu UNAM campus. Mr. Hakusembe, take us through from your department, what activities have you involved in this year's cultural festival?
Okay, thank you. So, to start with, day one, we had what we call a parade. So, it was one of the biggest parade, of which we had a lot of vehicles, including the truck that we had, dancers and the drum beaters, and then we had also the police escort, of which we are showcasing in town. So, and then up next also we had a gospel show, of which we invited a lot of gospel artists as well as the gospel bands as well.
So how are you trying to fit in all these other sectors with culture? It is entertainment that we are talking about, singing, that is gospel. How is it going hand in hand with the cultural festival?
Yes, so not to say that culture is boring, but entertainment is life. It makes an event more captive. So on the side of the entertainment, we make sure that people are having fun apart from the culture. Yeah.
So what are some of the improvements that you have made so far in this year's audition since its inception? What changes did you make this year?
Yes, as I mentioned earlier on, we had one of the biggest parades during the cultural festival. And another thing also, we had an audition for the artists that are going to perform during the whole event. So this audition, we had various local artists coming up to sign up, and then they audition, and then we see as to where do they fit to perform. So that is also some of the things that were never done during the other festivals.
And who is this year's main guest with the performance?
Yes, so I'm proudly saying this. So the biggest artist on the event is Tate Buti. Yes.
Okay. And who are the local artists, or some of the local artists that are going to feature Tate Buti on stage?
Yes, some of the artists that are going to feature Tate Buti, we have Kali the Invincible, and then we have the Mob, we have the TSK, and many more.
Do we also have students, on the entertainment sides? Apart from, well-established artists from the community or from elsewhere, do you have your own students that are also partaking from this audition or with the performance?
Yes, we have a lot of students, most of them, so to say, students from here. To mention a few, we have Little Teddy. Little Teddy is going to perform also. He's also a student from here, a third-year student. And then we have a first-year student who is on the poster with Tate Buti. His name is Kali the Invisible.
So what is your motivation to, our viewers?
So, as I said, this year's cultural festival is one of the biggest cultural festival that has ever been hosted at the Rundu campus. So stay tuned to other upcoming cultural festivals, because we are about to elevate as we go.
All right. Thank you, sir. Okay. So yes, once again, we are engaging with the SRC for Information and Publicity, that is Haingora Elizabeth, to share with us, how is the engagement so far from people from the community, sponsors-wise, and what are some of the things perhaps that needs to be implemented. So with that, we'd like to start off, first of all, how is the support from the community so far with this year's cultural festival?
Thank you very much. The support this year is really low. Having said that, I think we need the community to come on board, because it's just students that are here on campus doing their own event. So we are calling the community to come on board, support, and enjoy the exhibitions that are taking place on campus.
So, talking, we have a lot of stalls. Are the stalls only for campus students, or even outside are allowed to book a stall?
Because the event is a student event, so it's only students and a few staff members that are allowed. Outsiders are not allowed.
Okay. So, talking about sponsorship, how has the sponsorship been this year? Did you get a lot of sponsors, people that came on board just to support this year's event?
We tried to reach out to some local businesses to support the event. However, it wasn't so fruitful, but there are some sponsorships that turned up and we really appreciate. And yeah, that is how the event has been a success, because of the few sponsors that we got.
But making comparisons from the previous years, the turn-up of people that came in terms of supporting, do you think the number is better than previous years?
Honestly, no. This year, the number has reduced so much.
Perhaps what do you think should be implemented if there's something that needs to be added on this event? What, should be brought on board?
I'm thinking, since it's a cultural event, what should be brought on board is the involvement of the traditional authority. In that case, they can market the event more to the outside people. Let's say different villages, invite village councils. I think that will do, and then just increase our marketing strategies, our marketing platforms. That would really help to increase the number turn up.
So during the opening ceremony, how many cultural groups took part this year?
This year we had 6 cultural groups that took part. Yeah.
Namely?
We had the Zambezi cultural group, Hambukushu cultural group, the Oshuambo cultural group, the Vamanyo, Vanyemba, and the Vakwangari cultural group.
So how did the people, take the performance, or maybe the display of cultural or different cultures, or so to say? How did they take, perhaps the participations of the groups that took part, and as well as what they got to display about their culture? How did the people or the community, those that came, how did they embrace it?
It was really good. It was really good because amongst us, we were so blessed to have the Minister of Urban and Rural Development. He seemed to have enjoyed watching different cultural groups, different cultural exhibitions. It was really well. And on the official ceremony, the turn-up was a little bit better. So I may say that was a great success.
So what are your motivations to our viewers out there, young people as well, that may have forgotten their culture, or they are ashamed, of getting to address who they are or where they come from? What would you like, to encourage such people?
Sadly, we are really losing our culture. So I would motivate fellow young people, the youth, to be attending events like this, because you get to get reminded about how we're supposed to live our lives, how our elders were living their lives, regardless of technology and development taking over our ways of life. So I'd really encourage students to equip them, to acquaint themselves with events like this, so they can attend and to not lose their culture as it is happening now.
So perhaps you are looking for more sponsors next year. What would your message be to business people out there, to sponsor such an event?
My message to the business people out there is they should be on the lookout for events like this, because when you are sponsoring events like this, you are marketing your business as an entrepreneur. So check out, if possible, get different institutions' calendars and see when these events are happening, so you come on board and just make such cultural events in our region a success. That will be all for now.
All right. Thank you.
Esko Your Highness, aka Ditesh Lavo, Jitapan Mukunda, Mezepan Kapurungonja. I'm one of the guys who is making this cultural festival to be like independence celebration. You know what I mean?
Okay, you mentioned so many names. Which one do I choose now?
Esko Your Highness, that's the main one.
Okay, Esko Your Highness, how are you finding this year's cultural festival?
So far, I think the cultural festival is going well. Everything is good. So I'm finding it interesting and enjoyable. Yeah, all is well.
Oh, all is well. Are there any improvements you think the event organizers should improve on for next year, perhaps?
Yeah, I think there are some few improvements that I think the organizer can touch on next year, especially like when it comes to the stands. The organizers are not having like enough, how can I call now, gazebos like to distribute to the applicants who apply for stands. So as applicants, we are finding it so hard to go and collect again, how can I say it now, our own tent, which is more costly again, you see. Yes, I think maybe that's the only thing that they can improve on. If an applicant have applied, if that applicant is successful, they must be able to provide with the gazebo also.
What's your name?
My name is Skareni.
Skarani. And what are you selling?
We are selling Waidia product and some drinks.
Okay. What's Waidiba product all about?
It's all about promoting local brands and some up.
It's okay. It's okay.
Promoting upcoming like designers and stuff. Yeah.
Okay. So how are you finding this year's event?
It's a very productive event and people like are pulling up to support the other businesses. So yeah, it's going well.
Okay, thank you. Olivia, how are you finding this year's cultural festival for 2019?
Okay, since I was also here last year, this year there ain't so many people as like last year, but it's okay, it's not that bad. Security is tight and it's actually well organized this year.
Now, okay, are there any improvements you think the organizers should work on for next year?
Yeah, actually I think so, especially when it comes to picking up our stuff and like leaving them here, because it's always so difficult to always take the things back and forth and back and forth. At least the security can just be tighter, like they have like a stand, like a person who can check over our stuff in the night. So the next morning we just find everything just there, we just come, we just start with our business.
Okay, how would you encourage one to take cultural events seriously?
Okay, the ones I want to encourage them, I will just tell them like, we all are business people. Don't worry about the other ones around you. Worry about your own stand, because competition is always what makes you stronger. So don't mind if the others are having more than you. Just be, because it's a challenge when it comes to business. So take it seriously. Always smile to your customers. Make your prices reasonable so people can always come back, and always make sure that you got cold, everything which is cold which you drink, and always fresh food.
Okay, thank you Olivia for your time. Up until next time, it's Focus TV Show. Hi, I'm Vicky Nadia from Focus TV Show. And you are?
Bismarck.
My
business name is Bisbrai.
Bisbrai.
The best in town.
Okay. How are you finding this year's event?
Well, it's my first time coming here. It's not bad. It's good. It's actually good because people are actually coming in slowly but surely. And we're actually hoping people come in today more than the other days.
So you're saying it's productive?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. How many chickens did you sell so far?
500.
500?
Yes.
Okay. Are there any improvements you think the organizers can improve on for next year?
Okay, overall, I think they did well this year. They just need to do more marketing next year. Aggressive marketing. At least 2 weeks in advance, just market in town, let the people know, just so they come through.
Okay. How would you encourage one to take cultural events seriously?
By eating my wings.
Okay, your name again?
Bismarck.
Hi, I'm Nadia from Focus TV Show. What's your name?
My name is Marcelino, finally a student at the University of Rundu.
Okay, how are you finding this year's event?
This year's event is a bit boring because of the management, or should I say the organizers of the event. Yeah, everything was done on short notice.
What are the improvements you think the organizers should work on for next year? If there are any improvements?
Improvement is they should look at the date, because the date the culture festival starts at 14th. Not everyone has money on that day, so they should consider the date and just move it up towards the end of the month. That's basically it.
Okay, thank you, Marcelino.
Okay, you're welcome.
So that was the 2019 Cultural Festival at Rundu campus, which takes us back to the saying that goes, a society without culture is like a train without roots, so one should embrace it. I'm Nadia Shivia. Up until next time, it's Focus TV Show.
Hi, my name is Rosie and you are watching Focus TV Show. Please do like us on our Facebook page and don't forget to subscribe on our YouTube channel.